Where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. God has given us unlimited treasures in His Word. Every time we open it, we can discover a new treasure or admire an old one. What will we find today? Let's dig in. Here's Carla Early with Treasure Hunt in the Word.
I can't leave the story of Naaman without talking about his servant Gehazi. If you remember, Elisha had been Elijah's servant. So if Elijah had been training Elisha to be Israel's next prophet of God, perhaps Elisha was training Gehazi to be God's prophet after him. But even if he was just a servant, Gehazi had seen God do some amazing things. Just in the previous chapter, he'd seen a poor widow's bottle of oil multiply to get her out of debt. He saw a barren woman have a son, and when that son died, he saw the boy raised to life again. He saw his mistake of putting a poisonous gourd into the stew redeemed with a handful of flour. He saw a pitiful amount of food multiplied before his very eyes to feed 100 men with leftovers. Then he saw a leper miraculously cleansed. Yet he didn't really believe. He didn't believe God was all-knowing. If he had, he wouldn't have snuck around trying to keep Elisha from knowing what he was doing. He would have realized that God already knew. He didn't believe God was compassionate and loved even Gentiles, or he would have known God's mercy does not have a price. He didn't believe God was sovereign, or he wouldn't have gone outside his will to get riches he didn't deserve by following Naaman and lying to him, saying Elisha changed his mind and wanted to be rewarded after all. He didn't fear God's wrath, or he would have realized that 2 bags of silver and 2 changes of garments were not worth God's anger. Gehazi heard Naaman offer Elisha all sorts of material goods to pay for his healing. He had brought 10 talents of silver, 6,000 shekels of gold, and 10 changes of clothing. But Elisha turned him down. God's grace could not be paid for, at least not by Naaman. Only Jesus could do that. God's mercy is free for anyone who would accept it in faith. In fact, leprosy was quite symbolic. The disease started small and got slowly worse. Once a person was diagnosed, especially in Jewish society, they also became a social outcast, removed from the general public, separated. They couldn't even go to the temple to worship. It was debilitating and incurable. No one ever got better, only worse and worse until the person died, hopeless and alone. It's a graphic illustration of sin and its destructive power. Only God could heal a leper, just as only God can save a sinful person. Without God's intervention, all of us, as sinners, would die, hopeless and alone in our sin. But God paid the price for our sin, so we and Naaman wouldn't have to. He made a way, the only way, to true life. Just as Naaman got new skin and new life when he, by faith, dipped in the Jordan River 7 times, we receive new life, healed from sin through faith in Jesus. But this is a free gift. In fact, anything we try to do to earn it falls so short it's hardly worth mentioning. That's probably one reason why Elisha refused to take anything in payment from this Gentile army commander. He wanted to show Naaman that the God he now wanted to serve freely gives grace to all who believe. But Gehazi misses this completely. He doesn't see past silver and gold to the truth here. He rationalizes, and don't we all love to rationalize, that this Gentile owes them something, and he just can't stand to see all that wealth go back to Syria. So he ran after Naaman and misrepresented Elisha, and thereby God, by saying Elisha had some friends drop by, so he changed his mind and would accept a few changes of clothes and some silver. Now, friend, before we judge Gehazi, we also are representatives of God. How often do we misrepresent him with our attitude or things we say or do? And when confronted, Gehazi did not seem a bit repentant. The Lord didn't let this wrong go unpunished either. Gehazi's unbelief and disobedience and greed led him to become a leper. He received Naaman's death sentence. Like Judas, who saw and experienced Jesus' miracles, in the end he will hear, "I never knew you. Depart from me." Gehazi and Judas were so close to the power of God, but they completely missed his saving power in their own lives. I pray today you know the Lord. After all, we have the whole Bible and our whole lifetime to experience God's love and care. All we have to do is put our faith and trust in the Lord, like Naaman did, and be healed, be forgiven, and rejoice in his grace and mercy.
You can contact us at treasurehuntintheword@gmail.com. We'd love to hear the treasures God has given you through His Word. You can listen to other episodes at our website, which you can find in the description below. Thanks for listening, and remember, where your treasure is, there will your heart be also.